Of course, now we got to go back to Bob.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, it was funny because you guys were like a family, and I felt very quickly like accepted. But with Bob, he very quickly became like my big brother.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you guys got very close.
Yeah, like right away. It was really weird. I found, this is a crazy story. I found recently in a book that I was reading once on a trip to Paris. And he had sent me a fax to the hotel because in those days that's
fax.
And he was always faxing everybody, because he figured out a way to fax from his computer. Like he didn't have to print it; he could just send.
I think it was called eFax was the program. Yeah, because he would fax me. And I remember the letterhead. He was. I'm like, Bob, why are you faxing me? I'm in the dressing room next to you. Oh, because it's new technology. It's cool, isn't it?
Well, you got us into that. You were the Mac guy. You got us all into getting PowerBooks.
Yes,
I remember. I was like, I have to get one of these PowerBooks. Everybody has a PowerBook.
Yeah.
And it was like $4,000 in 1993. It was like.
But I loved that technology. I was always a geek nerd technology guy. I used to write C++ back in the day when you had you had to write code. You had to write like 20 lines of code to cut and paste something.
Oh my God. Yeah, you were our tech guru back then.
I was. I remember.
I think you still are. Did you get one of those Apple headsets yet? I'm sure you're getting one of those.
No, but I think those are really expensive.
Yeah.
They're going to be like $5,000 or something.
Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah. But, I mean, they look amazing.
Yeah.
I'll probably
if they hit, then the price will come down.
Exactly.
They'll flood the market. The price will come down.
For sure. But I remember Bob sent me this. So I found this fax that Bob sent me, and it said, by the way, because he was married to Sherry at the time, and he said, I told Sherry that you're going to be spending a lot of time at our house this summer. It was funny. Like, he was very proactive about like making me a part of his family. It was really cool.
Yeah, he had a way of welcoming people for sure. Now, I want to go back to Aladdin because it was a gigantically successful film, animated movie and you had no idea that you thought it was going to be a little cartoon.
I had no idea.
So what was the audition like? Had you watched, because Aladdin was like old movies, that they made into.
Yeah, like everybody knows about the genie and the three wishes and stuff. But no, I didn't know anything. I didn't know, I had never done any voiceover work before except for a commercial in Florida for Dania Highlight. Which is like a highlight. Yeah, because they did it. They did an experiment where kids could go with their parents to Dania Highlight for free. And so I was like, I'm a kid. I love going to Dania Highlight with my parents, like most kids. And
I don't have a series, so I can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that was my only voiceover experience. And I auditioned for Aladdin, and so there was like a music stand with the sheets, the dialogue on it. And they show you a picture of the kid. Like, this is what he looks like. And I was like, looks kind of like me. I'm a teenage boy. This is what it looks like. And I did the audition, and they were like, they were impressed. Like they said, oh, your voice sounds really. It turned out they had their eye on me from before. They had one of the animators liked my voice from The Family Man, I guess. And and so
you never know.
Yeah, it's crazy how it works. And they said that was great. So we have one question: can you sing? And at this point in my, I learned from years of struggle that when they ask you if you can do things at an audition, you lie and say you can. And then if you get the part, you learn how to do it. So if like, can you juggle fire? You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get the part and you hire a fire juggling coach, and
because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially in Florida.
Throw a rock in Florida, you'll hit a fire juggling coach.
You totally will.
And so I practiced. They gave me sheet music and a tape of like this demo song, and I practiced really hard. Like I was like, I'm gonna nail this. I could, I could do this. And so I went. That was my second worst audition of my life, was singing the audition, singing for Aladdin. And I came out of the audition, and my mom's like, and I gave her the thumbs down. She's like, I'm proud of you for trying, because you're not a singer. And so we just put it out of our mind and forgot about it, went back to Florida like we always did. And then like 6 months later, they reached out that I was still up for it. And I had to send another tape. So I made a tape with my mom playing the genie and with her Brooklyn accent. and it's funny because the first line that Genie has in the whole movie is "Oi." He goes, "Oi, 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck." And that's exactly how my mom actually talks. So it was like perfect. And so we recorded that at home and mailed it to my agent in LA, and they they just kept bringing me back until finally the movie came out.
And Robin Williams played the genie. Did
Yep.
you ever interact with him, or you guys? Oh, you did.
Yeah. Well,
so you guys did recording sessions together?
Yeah, I recorded a lot. I recorded mostly with Linda Larkin, who was the princess. We did a ton together.
Yeah.
But you couldn't not have me and Robin together because he improvised so much. So he would change his dialogue. So I would have to change mine sort of on the fly, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And that's another case where I was incredibly nervous because he was my hero. I mean,
so many people. He was my hero too.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, you remind me of him in a lot of, like your humor is very, it's funny. I was watching one of those early Full House episodes and you've got the like Hawaiian shirt on and like 2 swatches and like you had like a Robin vibe, a Robin Williams
Well,
vibe.
we were working the clubs at the same time.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
you guys knew each other.
we had an incredible group. It was me, Saget, Shandling, Seinfeld, Jim Carrey, Howie Mandel, Mike Binder, Drew Carey, Roseanne, Letterman, Leno, Robin Williams. So when and none of us were famous back then, but when you followed like a Seinfeld or a Shandling or Saget or Robin Williams, you couldn't go try stuff out at
you gotta you have to bring stuff that
You'd had to
works.
bring your A game that you were killing with on the road, and you had to go up after Robin, and but usually Robin would stay on stage for an hour and clear the whole room out. That was the end of the night. That was about it.
Well, the interesting thing about him is that I was so nervous to meet him, and I had an image in my mind of him being this crazy manic Robin Williams guy, but he was so quiet and soft-spoken and very disarming.
Yes, he was. He talked like this a lot.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. Oh, good to see you, Scott.
But then, of course, the red light would go on, and we'd start recording, and he would turn into that character.
He had a switch. He had an on switch that I've never seen in any other performer.
It blew me away.
Maybe Richard Pryor. I saw Pryor work out a lot of stuff at the Comedy Store. Robin had a switch. Now, this is interesting talking about Robin Williams and animation. Robin had a series called Mork and Mindy on ABC, produced by Ruby Spears. And so Robin goes off to do Popeye film in Malta.
That was my first VHS tape I ever owned.
Was it really? Yeah. Such a quirky movie with Shelley Duvall.
Loved it.
And so Robin wasn't available to do the voice for the Mork and Mindy cartoon. So I went in and auditioned
And did a copy of Robin's voice.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look, Min Min. Yes.
But Robin was a big inspiration to me when I first came to the Comedy Store.
Wait, now, is that how you got exposed to Tom and Bob and that whole world of their show?
Totally unrelated.
Oh, that's interesting.
Totally unrelated.
Because they'd made Mork and Mindy. Weren't they both involved?
Tom Miller was.
Okay.
Tom Miller was. But it was totally, by the time they get to the animated series, it's just kind of like, it's the child you don't want to talk about,
Sure. When I was a kid, I watched all that. I had an egg.
Did you?
When I was a kid.
Nanu.
With the,
Yes. Mark calling Orson.